Fresh off the heels of the popular Drive to Survive series, it looks like we've got another Formula One docuseries on our hands, and this one, as you've surmised, is helmed by the One himself. What details do we know about this new series? Is it replacing the old one? What's Keanu's involvement entail? You'll find out all of this and more in today's video, as long as you stick around till the end. Wait, is this new show going to replace the F1 Drive to Survive series? If you're familiar with the pre-existing show that's been on the air since 2019, you may be a little concerned that this new announcement is a sign that it's on the outs. For those who don't know, Formula One Drive to Survive is a show that documents the struggles and triumphs of F1 racers, covering them all throughout the season. It's become something of a tradition. A few months after the actual races finish in December, fans get to relive it all in a whole new way through the show, which usually releases in March. This Netflix show has been a bit of a surprise hit and is actually credited with helping grow Formula One's popularity in the United States. Without it, the US might not find itself hosting a grand total of 3 F1 races in the 2023 season. Now then, for any fans of this series who might be worried for its future, we're here to assure you that you've got nothing to fear. The new docuseries we're talking about today, while likely inspired by the success of Drive to Survive, is an entirely different beast. It actually won't be covering current seasons at all, and it is in no way taking the place of the more familiar series. In fact, it's not even being produced for the same outlet in the first place, as this is a burgeoning Disney property rather than a Netflix show. As for Drive to Survive, it's already renewed for a 5th and 6th season, the first of which is scheduled to drop in March of next year. So then, just what is the premise of this new series? With a lot of new fans coming to the sport in recent times, there is no doubt a lot of interest in the history of Formula One, and that's what this new show is looking to deliver on. While there's only so many details out, every indication is that the main focus will be on the modern-day F1 managing director, Ross Brawn. Before his days in management, he was working alongside specific F1 teams for over 20 years. He started off as a mechanic before getting into designing the vehicles himself, notably being the lead designer of the Jaguar XJR-14, which would go on to win the 1991 World Sports Car Championship with the silk-cut Jaguar team. He would move on to become technical director at Bennington, alongside star racer Michael Schumacher, whom he followed to the Ferrari F1 team. They stuck together into the 2000s, and during that time, Schumacher experienced some truly unprecedented success, amassing 7 league championships, including 5 straight between 2000 and 2004. After leaving them in 2006 to take a well-earned break, Ross would return as the new team principal of Honda in 2008. However, as you'd expect for a team looking for a new team principal, that would be the F1 equivalent of a head coach in other sports. The Honda team was not doing too hot at the time, and when the global economic crisis hit, Honda decided they could no longer afford to keep going with Formula One. They announced a withdrawal from the sport in 2008, before Ross could even get a chance to turn things around. There was but one solution. The team needed someone to buy them quickly or they'd be dissolved. And so, with no one else to turn to, Ross did the only thing he could, drumming up all the money on his own and breaking bank to buy Honda for, this can't be right. He bought it for £1? Are you sure we're not missing like 7 or 8 zeros there? Really, he bought it for £1. Okay, well, watch the show to find out the details on that one, I guess. Sounds like a real story. Anyway, from there, Ross Brawn managed an astounding turnaround for the team, managing them to a Constructors' Championship, as well as netting the driver's title for Jenson. He then turned right around and sold the team, while still staying on as team principal, mind you, to Mercedes for a cool $110 million. That is a pretty nice return on investment, if I do say so myself. Telling the full story of this stirring 2009 season is likely to be a big focal point of the new docuseries. Well then, why and how is Keanu involved? Keanu Reeves is a noted big fan of Formula One racing, having been spotted at many a race, including making an appearance at the 2022 British Grand Prix. He has stated in interviews his excitement in learning about the 2009 F1 season and everything that was going on around that time. As the popularity of the sport grows around the world, it seems Keanu is eager to push it forward and do his part to help see the ongoing explosion continue. As for what his role is, some call him a host of the show, which would make a certain level of sense given his familiarity and screen presence. But it's also been noted that he's been conducting interviews for the docuseries as well. Names such as former Ferrari chairman Luca di Montezemolo, the aforementioned Jenson, and the fellow former Brawn GP teammate Rubens Barrichello have been brought up in this context as people that Reeves has sat down with. A name like his really helps lure people in, doesn't it? Both in viewers and in the stars that they're looking to get involved in the show. By all accounts, it seems like his involvement isn't just as a frontman. It seems like he's doing some real work on this project. I think we're all pretty excited to see the end result. While details are scarce as to the release and even the distribution of this series as of yet, the expectation is that we'll be seeing it come to Disney Plus sometime in 2023. Is there anything else Keanu Reeves has been up to lately? While we're on the topic of him, man, Keanu sure does keep busy, doesn't he? He signed on for 2 more John Wick movies, which were intended to be filmed back to back, but it just so happened that this coincided with peak pandemic years. This made the development a lot rockier and notably moved the planned release date of Chapter 4 back a full 2 years, but it is finally in the post-production stage and set to come out in March of 2023. As such, Keanu has been in hype mode for the movie, recently appearing at Comic-Con to help unveil a sneak peek teaser. While of course the details are a bit mum right now, one can only surmise that production for Chapter 5 is going to be starting basically as soon as Chapter 4 is out, maybe even beforehand. All this, and he's also the voice of Batman in the DC League of Super Pets, a 3D computer animated film that's likely already out by the time this video sees the light of day. And he's presumably got to be doing some press work for that as well, right? Where he finds the time for all of this, we'll never know. But one thing's for sure, Keanu Reeves seems to be as in demand today as he ever was. That means you'll be seeing plenty of him in the next year, particularly if you check out the new F1 docuseries. Look at that, brought it right back around. So, what else is going on in the world of Formula 1? Lastly, we'd like to get you up to speed with a few other Formula 1 stories. Keanu's not the only famous actor to be recently linked to the sport, as Tom Cruise was in attendance at the very same British Grand Prix, and actually ended up in a rather mortifying live TV moment when F1 icon Martin Brundle barged in to interview him. That is actually the subject of another video of ours, so I'd highly recommend checking that out if you enjoyed this one. As the 2022 F1 season continues to ramp up, with defending champ Max Verstappen still very much leading the standings, he did find some time to break off and discuss future seasons. In particular, he was asked what countries the league should hit up for Grand Prix in 2023. You might be surprised by his answer, as he believes that South Africa is due to finally get another F1 race. Do you agree with this? And how likely do you think it is? Before you answer, be sure to check out our video on the subject, because yes, of course, we have one on that too. And that is all we have time for today. Are you excited for the upcoming docuseries? Are you a more recent fan who's surprised to learn about the 2009 season? Maybe you're just a big Keanu fan who's always looking to see what he's doing next. Don't think any of us would really blame you for that one. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching.